Hi guys, this is Katrina, and I'm going to be talking about Moonrise Kingdom and The Smell of Other People's Houses, which is the novel I chose for this week. My notes are over here, so if you see me glancing down, that's what I'm looking at. So for Moonrise Kingdom, we have these two characters, Sam and Susie, and with the topic of identity, when I was watching the movie, all I could notice was that what is said about their identity is through other people. So some of the quotes that I wrote down were descriptors of the characters. So Sam is emotionally disturbed. He's the least popular scout of the troop. And Susie, her mother said, she doesn't have any friends. So I think that these characters are still achieving their identity. They're still looking for themselves. And, Sam thought he was safe with his foster family and they're becoming more like a family. Um, but really, he's not accepted in that family. He's an orphan. He's not sure if he wants to be a scout or not. He doesn't have many friends and he runs away. So, to me, that is somebody that is still looking for their identity, wants to find somebody that they have things in common with, that will accept them. And Susie is really going through the same thing because, her parents um, think she's a troubled child, that, she's going through all these problems at school. And she, I think, is still finding herself because, she wants to be somebody that's powerful, that has powers. That's why she always uses her binoculars to see things up close. And another quote I wrote down was that she steals books so that she can have a secret. So to me, that was like she's a character who's like crying out for help, who's looking for attention, who wants a friend, and I think these characters find it in each other, and that's why they latch onto each other so quickly. Um, okay. For the taboo topics, I thought their relationship would be a taboo topic. And the scene where they're on the beach and there's some sexual um, things happening there. I would probably be uncomfortable in a classroom setting talking through that, but it's certainly a reality, I think, for our students. So I probably would like some guidance from you guys, how you guys would approach that. But overall, I think it was a really good movie, and all I kept thinking through the whole thing was um, that poor Scoutmaster because he was really having a hard time. So the themes I thought for the movie is obviously acceptance, not judging people, and bullying because one of the scenes I really loved in the movie was how the other scouts were in their treehouse and they're like, we've been real jerks to this kid and he has a rough background and we should be aware of that. So I think that says a lot about the movie. Um, and okay, now I'll talk about the novel. So I read The Smell of Other People's Houses. I'm sorry you can't see the cover, but library books, they put this dumb cover on it, and I can't take it off. They said I couldn't. um, so it's about these teenagers in Alaska, and it's shortly after Alaska becomes a state in the United States. So that was really interesting because, you know, shockingly enough, as a historian, I don't know much about that. So you actually get to see like the psychology of Alaskans at that time and their parents, well, what were they talking about, and these characters are realizing that as it goes through. So there are several adolescent characters, male and female, and they're all going through different things. So the different themes are pregnancy, being poor, sexual relationships, religion, guardians, them being strict, dead parents, disappointing parents, standing up to your parents. So there's all these different characters, and they're all going through different themes throughout the book. And for the concept of identity, when I was reading it, all I could think of was the Alaskans really have such a unique identity because it's really about survival, and there's kind of this poor, wealthy, white Native American play going on here, and people are. It's almost like there's a boundary between these people, and that has a lot to say about their identity. So for the quotes I chose, okay, she's talking about her father. Okay. He told me that most people didn't pay that much attention to stuff that happened in Washington, D.C., but Alaskans would be sorry when outside people started making decisions for us. I didn't know who these outside people were, but I hoped I would never, ever meet them. So this character is reflecting on what her father said about outside people and how, they didn't want their influence. And it's really scaring this character because her father is talking about it in this context, and she's like, "Oh, I don't know who these outside people are, but they seem really scary." So I thought that was it says a lot about her identity, and it says a lot about like a child's mindset and them not understanding some of these grown-up concepts. Okay, here's another quote. It's about the white Native American identities that I noticed in this book. So it says, they're both 11, which is pretty old enough to know where the lines are drawn. We don't have a fish camp because we aren't native, Gran says to her plate. So, these little girls are asking their Gran, why can't we have a fish camp? Why can't we spend the summers fishing? And she says, well, we're not native, we don't have those rights. So that's another reality, I think, in this book, is that these adolescents are figuring out where the lines are drawn in the sand in their Alaskan world. So I thought that was really, really interesting. Overall, what I thought would be most relatable to students is that both the book and the movie that I watched is that there's this theme about the thought of leaving home. And, I see it in The Bloodline too, which is the book I read, but I'll talk about that more in the literacy activity. But, the thought of leaving home, about getting out of the situation that they're in, kind of leaving their identity behind, kind of, like what else is out there. And I think it's really a big thing anywhere. I grew up in a small community, and everyone was thinking about what they were going to do, where they're going to college, how to get out of here, what's their ticket out of here. And I think that's really relatable. It's a reality for most kids. Okay, so what I was thinking for classroom integration, and I mentioned this in the critical lens, in the critical description responses, and I said, with classroom integration, my idea would be that students would watch the film or read the book, and then they would be grouped according to the characters that they chose. So, say they wanted to choose Jack from... No, that's Bloodline. So they wanted to choose Sam from Moonrise Kingdom, then I would give them critical discussion questions, scaffolding questions about, that would lead them into what is the theme that he's going through. So I would say acceptance, and maybe I would talk about how his background would how it influenced his character in the movie, and the different things that he's going through. And then I would probably have these groups share to the rest of the class, so that way they're getting all of the themes, all of the characters, and they're learning about, everything that's jam-packed in these books and films without taking up so much class time. Anyway, that was my idea. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about my video, and thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.